This is video 41 of 101. This video is about tea. I'm really excited to talk about tea today because I love tea. I'm pretty much obsessed. I used to work at a tea shop and I studied a manual this thick for my training, so I pretty much know like 90% of what there is to know about tea, all about the history, the processing, how all the different teas are made. And I want to tell you guys, tea is amazing because if it's done correctly, and which I'll teach you how to do, it's really simple. It can be this incredible, tasty experience, and it also has some incredible health benefits. First, let's just talk about what is tea. Tea is essentially steeping any kind of plant material in hot water. That's essentially what tea is at its core. However, the tea that we know today as like white tea, green tea, oolong, or black tea, those all come from the same Camellia sinus plant, which is the tea plant. And so white, green, oolong, and black tea are all actually from the same plant. They're just processed with different stages that makes them into different teas. So white tea is the least processed. It is just withered and dried. It has very high antioxidant content. It's great to help your body get rid of toxins as well, improving your skin quality. I'm gonna skip over green tea and talk about oolong because green tea makes more sense when you put it in the middle. Oolong tea is partially fermented, and this changes its chemical properties and making it much better for digestion or helping with your metabolism. And then in the middle you have green tea, which is kind of like a good mix of oolong and white tea in the sense that green tea has those high antioxidants while also being really great for your metabolism. So green tea is a great middle ground, but if you wanted to focus on something more like getting rid of toxins or with your metabolism, definitely going with oolong or white tea is a great option. And then when you get to black tea, it's been fully fermented, so it has tons of caffeine. It's really great for your cardiovascular health and your blood circulation as well, and it's got lots of caffeine to keep you energized. So those are kind of the four main kinds of tea. There's a couple others you can make off the Camellia sinus, and I'll just link that down below. There are tons of teas from around the world, like chai teas or yerba mate or pu'er teas. They all have different flavors local to the plants that grow in those regions. I recommend giving them a try because they can be some really great experiences while also having tons of nutrients, of course, as always. You can also go into things like herbal teas, and so those can get a little bit sweeter if you're adding like dried fruit pieces or flowers. You can add in this sweetener called beet sugar, which does enhance the flavor and doesn't spike your blood sugar. It's something you can get at Teavana, and I'm still selling like 2 years later. But essentially, it can just help enhance the flavor of whatever tea you're adding it to and creating really great, delicious sweet treats. Herbal teas have zero caffeine in them. They're typically used medicinally or as a sweet treat. Then there are just so many things you can do to teas. You can make iced teas by just steeping really concentrated versions of tea and then adding ice. Makes delicious iced teas. You could also do lattes where you're steeping that concentrated version and then adding non-dairy milks. I love like chai tea lattes. Those are amazing. Just the beautiful spices and the nice almond milks is such a great experience, and lots of health benefits in there because the spices have nutrients that are going to help your body in many ways. Now, in terms of steeping tea, there is actually an art to steeping tea, and it goes back thousands of years. And now I'm not going to talk about this entire whole long tea art process and ceremony because it's quite ceremonial. However, for steeping tea, there's just two simple things you need to keep in mind to steeping the perfect cup, and that is water temperature and time of steep. And so if you get these two things right for the type of tea you're steeping, you are way better off for getting a perfect cup of tea. The temperature that you're steeping your tea at varies depending on the kind of tea. White teas are very delicate and need to be steeped at a much lower temperature, typically 85 degrees. Black teas could be steeped at boiling. I typically recommend maybe just a little bit below boiling. Herbal teas can be definitely steeped at boiling, no problem. So white tea about 85 degrees, green tea around the same, and oolong tea about 95 degrees. This is because you don't want to burn the tea. It can get very bitter if it's burnt, and it just kind of makes for a not fun experience. And then the time that you steep your tea for matters as well. White tea, again, you're not going to want to steep it for very long. There are some really great teas you could steep for like 30 seconds to a minute because they're so potent that that's all you need to get all those nutrients out of them. Same with green teas, typically about 2 to 3 minutes. Oolong teas, 3 to 4. Black teas, about 4 to 5. Herbal teas, you can steep them as long as you want. But however, these steep times, they're typically just guidelines. I think for the white and green teas, you don't really want to play with them. But for something like an oolong tea, I used to steep mine for 15 minutes because I just loved the flavor of it and I didn't mind that extra intense, strong flavor. So it's playing around with the teas, finding out what you like. If you steep a tea and you find the flavor isn't strong enough, just steep it for longer, see what happens. So tea is incredible. One last thing about tea is that there's this tea called matcha, which is green tea that has been stone grinded into a powder that actually gets whisked into water and then ingested. So you're getting this highly concentrated version of green tea, which is one of the healthiest teas, and then actually ingesting those leaves. So matcha is incredible, and I've actually done an entire video about matcha that I'll link down below. It is amazing. It is the healthiest tea in the world. You're ingesting those full leaves, you're getting tons of antioxidants and actually vitamins and minerals in there too because of the high concentration. There's also great amounts of caffeine that can rival coffee, which means that you could drink this in the morning and feel super energized. But it has a chemical compound called L-theanine, which will relax your body. So you're not jittery, you're not gonna crash, you're just energized, awake, but clear-headed. You could really get into tea. I used to be a tea snob for sure, and now I just try to drink tea whenever I can, but it has incredible health benefits. If done properly, it can be an incredible experience as well. I hope you find your favorites, and I hope you enjoy your perfect cup of tea.